Okay, before we do number 11, this was what I was talking about as far as putting in your calculator. You can put the functions in like this. This is your x squared. That's your tangent line, negative 4x minus 4. And there's your other line, the normal line. And then if we graph this, we could go to zoom 6. You go to zoom 6. You'll see there's your parabola. There's your tangent line. And there's your normal line. But they're supposed to be perpendicular. The reason why is because your window is kind of like a widescreen TV. So if you go to zoom 5, that's going to give you a square window. Now you'll be able to see a little bit better. There's the tangent line, and you can see how the normal line is perpendicular. So that's how you could graph that. All right? So you remember that for the next problem. We may not have time to graph it, but that's what we're going to do. All right? Okay. Let's take a look now at number 11. I'm going to have to zoom out here a little bit. Okay, and here's number 11. And again, we have this function here. F of x equals 1 over x minus 1. And again, this is going to be at x equals 2. So a will be 2. So again, like I did the last problem, and make sure you write these down every time. Write these down every time. And then you'll remember the formulas, and it's pretty easy. We'll do some more problems the next homework assignment. So again, we'll get lots of practice with these. Okay, you write this down. So this again is from page 90, and this is the definition of the slope at a point as a limit. And remember, this is the definition of the slope of a point. All right, and then again, it's going to be at 2, so my a will be 2, so I put my 2 in here for a and 2 for a, because a is 2. All right, so that's okay so far. Now here comes the tricky part. The f of x, this is 1 over me minus 1. So me is 2 plus h, so 1 over me minus 1. All right, 1 over x minus 1. X, in this case, is whatever is in here, so that's 2 plus h, so 1 over 2 plus h minus 1. 1 over me minus 1. This is me, 1 over me minus 1. Okay, or something if you want to call it like that. And this again is 1 over 2 minus 1, or 1 over something minus 1. This is it. Okay, 1 over 2 minus 1. So we substitute that in. So that's the tricky part. You have to be very careful of the way you substitute this in. Now you can simplify however you can. Again, if you substitute h for 0, you're going to get 0 over 0 until we get rid of this denominator, until we can get rid of that h. All right, so 2 minus 1 is 1, so that's 1 plus h. So this simplifies to be 1 plus h. 2 plus h minus 1 is 2 minus 1 is 1, so it's 1 plus h. And what's 2 minus 1? 1. Well, what's 1 over 1? 1. So I've got 1 over h minus 1 all over h. Now I've got a complex fraction. Remember, we did some of these in the summer assignments. This is y. So we multiply the top and the bottom by the LCD, which is 1 plus h. So this 1 plus h cancels and leaves me with a 1. And this is a negative 1 plus h. And on the bottom I have h times 1 plus h. Is that all right? Okay. Then what I could do from that, okay. Okay. And then I can remove this parenthesis, so I've got 1 minus h. Now be careful. We've got negatives here. Okay. All over h times 1 plus h. This stays the same. But what's 1 minus 1? 0, so I have negative h all over h times 1 plus h. And now I can cancel out the h, so I'm going to get rid of that factor of h in the denominator. So again, if I still evaluate this, this will be 0 over 0. But once I cancel those out, and remember we can cancel those because h is not 0, it's just approaching 0, getting real close to 0. We have negative 1 over 1 plus h. And then if I substitute 0 in this, I get 1, this becomes 0. So I get negative 1 over 1, which is just negative 1, so that's my slope. So when x is 2, for this function 1 over x minus 1, the slope is negative 1. Now if we want to find the equation of the tangent line, we have to find the y value, okay, when x is 2. So this is f of x equals 1 over x minus 2. I'm sorry, 1 over x minus 1, pardon me, 1 over x minus 1. So I want to find f of 2 because I want to find the y value when x is 2. All right, I'm given the x value, and I can use the function to find the y value. So that's 1 over 2 minus 1, which is 1 over 1, which is 1. All right, so this is my slope, m equals -1, and my point is the point 2, 1. And I'll just put this in the point slope form. Oops, sorry about that. Give you a little more room here. Ran out of room here. Sorry about that. Rambling on, not looking at what I'm doing. All right, so again, this is my slope. And again, putting this in the function, I get 1, so that's my point, 2, 1. So this is my slope, point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I substitute in. My slope is -1. And y, this would be my y1 will be 1. And my x1 will be 2. And then I can simplify this. And this is going to be negative x, positive 2, and then if I add 1 to both sides, I get plus 1. So you should be able to do that. I skipped a step because I was running out of room. And I got negative x, and what's 2 plus 1, 3, and that's the equation of my tangent line. Okay? Now let's take a look at the normal line. So the equation of the normal line here. Now remember, if the slope of the tangent line is 1, the slope of the perpendicular line to that, or the normal line, is the negative reciprocal of this. Well, the negative reciprocal of -1 is just 1 over -1, which is just 1. So that's a nice easy slope. And I have the same point. So the normal line will be perpendicular to the tangent line at this point, 2, 1. It has to go through the point 2, 1. So again, we use our point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we put our point 2, 1 here. So this is y minus 1 equals, the slope is 1 times x minus 2, x minus x1. And then we can simplify this pretty easy. This is just x minus 2. If I add 1, I get plus 1 over here. And what's -2 plus 1, -1, so that's my normal line. So that's not too bad. Now we want to graph this. So I got out my graph paper again. And then I'll have to zoom in on this a little bit here, so you can see what I did. And you could do this on the calculator like we did the last problem. Now remember, this is just swoosh, if we think of it, and it's just shifted over. So all this is done is being shifted over a little bit. There we go, square that off. And it looks like this, so this is what that looks like. Remember, normally it's over here, but we have to shift it because it's 1. So it's just like 1 over x, but it's shifted over. It's just 1 over x. Remember, f of x equals 1 over x, except I'm just shifting it over, so you can see that. Okay. So instead of the axis, the asymptote being 0, the asymptote is now 1. So it goes like this, and remember, like this is 1, this was 1/2. Remember, 1/4. This was 1/2 and 1/4. So it goes like that. So that pencil mark, that's the graph. F of x equals 1 over x minus 1. Now the tangent line, I can graph this. Now remember, my intercept, y equals mx plus b. My intercept is 3. My slope is -1. So I go to 3, 1, 2, 3, and my slope is down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1. And you can see it's tangent to the curve right there at the point 1, 2. Remember, this is 0 over here. So the point, this is 1, and this is 2. This is 1. So there's your point 1, 2. So you see it's tangent, no problem. Now the normal line is the line y equals x minus 1. Well, my slope is 1, but my intercept is -1, so I go down here to -1, and I put my points in. And my slope is 1, so I go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and there it goes right to the point, up 1 over 1, and that's your normal line right there. And I could connect that with a straight edge, and wouldn't have any trouble. Let's do that. Let's get out my straight edge here, and I'll draw my normal line, which goes through those points like that. And there's a normal line. And you can see it goes right to the point, and you got a nice right angle there. Okay, so if that's clear, and again, you could do that with your calculator. It wouldn't be too hard. Okay, I'll go back up here. And I can clear this. And it's going to be 1 divided by parentheses x minus 1. Okay, and then my tangent line was minus x plus 3, or negative x, so use a little negative x plus 3. And my normal line was going to be x minus 1. So that's not too bad. X minus 1. And then I can go to zoom. I guess 4 might work here. Well, we'll go to zoom 6 just in case. And we'll get something like that. And there you have it. I'm going to go to zoom 4. I think that's going to be better. Zoom 4. See a little bit better there. Yeah. There we go. That's nice. And we're still in the square window, so we're okay. That's perpendicular. That's nice. But if just double check and zoom square. Yeah, we were still in the square window, so. And you can see here's your tangent line. There's your normal line, and there's their curve. So we got that slope right there. And actually, we have the symmetrical part down there, but we were just worried at the point 2. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. Now the other exercises, I think those should be okay because those were just the secant line, so those were pretty much straight substitution, all right? But if you have trouble, just email me and I can do those for you also a little bit later. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Good luck.